Joy Ma Kamakhya, Joy Bhairava, Joy Matara. So today's video is on a spiritual topic, not necessarily specific sadhana, but something that's very important, something that has come up in the news recently. So I saw the news that there has been a huge financial scam that has happened in the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, and there are investigations, and the government has formed an SIT and other things. A scam to the tune of almost 200 crores have been siphoned off from the offerings that people have presented in the temple. And this is a temple that is not controlled by the government. It is a temple that is controlled by trust by the devotees, whoever is associated in all that, the mechanics of the whole thing. For any practicing Hindu, for anybody who has a strong connection to dharma, this should be one of the most disturbing pieces of news that you can ever come across, because it shakes. So this is a temple for which we know that there has been a struggle for centuries. There have been court cases, so many things have happened. Then additionally there was a lot of to put it in a way, PR and propaganda that this is the one in a lifetime, this is a civilizational moment when the Rama temple comes up in Ayodhya. All that is wonderful. 500 years of struggle, and then 200 crores of scam in 1 year. I mean, uh, this is beyond shameful. There is something, something that we can be ashamed of, but this is actually open daylight robbery. I doubt, in fact, to my knowledge, I have not come across some of the biggest uh, temple or religious spaces of other communities, and I don't mean the smaller ones, I mean the very central ones, which suffer from this kind of financial irregularities or scams that we Hindus unfortunately are subjected to. It puts a question mark on various things that we are doing. It puts a question mark on various aspects of the right-wing activism that's very popular these days, especially in the last few years. And it puts a question mark on our understanding of what exactly is a temple. So a temple is basically, so there is, to give a very brief understanding, suppose there is one Rama, there is one Shiva, there is one Durga in the divine planes, and they are very transcendental beings. So they have the ability to project their Shakti, their energy into different vigrahas in different places in order for human beings to be able to appreciate them in a more limited format. And even then, each vigraha has a different kind of energy depending on who is doing the sadhana, who is doing the seva, what kind of practices are going on, what type of mantras, what type of concentration, what type of prana is being projected into the vigraha by what type of people. So there may be, multiple temples of the same deity. There could be 100 Shivalingas across India, thousands of them. And yet, in a Jyotirlinga, the amount of crowd that comes is vast, whereas there may be a small roadside Shivalinga where hardly even 10 people comes there, because the amount of Shakti that each of these places contain and the amount of awakening that Shakti can cause is very different. That is why a temple that is very awakened, the presence of the Devata is very vibrant and alive, organically draws crowds towards itself. That is one of the first base criteria of any awakened space. So we go to temple because we derive some benefits from that. The presence of the Devata in that temple helps to maintain balance of dharma around that specific geographical location, and also benefit upasakas and ordinary people who come there to interact with the energy of the deity. So this is the purpose of having temples. This is the purpose of having vigrahas. And the reason why we do it in a ritualistic manner, because rituals are a kind of language of interaction between the ordinary upasaka and the devata in whatever realm he or she may exist. But who is it that is supposed to take care of the deity? Who is the first individual whose job it is to ensure that the vigraha, the ritual, and everything process is maintained, the right amount of shuddhata is maintained, the right kind of purity, the right kind of um, acharam, the right kind of rituals, the right amount of proportion of japa, the right amount proportion of homa, abhishekam, etc. All that, this whole processes are correctly done. It comes down to the priest in the temple, the priest who actually does the seva. And this is where an area of corruption has crept in. I think it is not just crept in now, it was perhaps always there, but it has become more visible. So when you go to some of the major North Indian temples, and I mean temples in like the, let's start with one of my favorite temples, the Bhairava temple, or the Kamakhya temple, or if you go to Kalighat Kali temple, if you go to Puri Jagannath temple, you go to the temples in Vindhyachal, the experience as an ordinary upasaka would be so terrifyingly bad because of the terrible behavior of the pandas and the priests. You will feel like you have been caught in a den of thieves and robbers. It does not give you the energy of a person who is spiritual, which is what it is supposed to be. A priest, somebody who is close to the deity, taking and doing seva of the deity, his or her mind should have been elevated. Instead, what happens is they are fixated on amount of money they can earn. To them, for all practical purposes, regardless of whatever they may say, they treat the deity and the temple as a business, as a way where it's a commercial enterprise, uh, like a shop, like a shopkeeping. Uh, you go there, you do some pujas, you do get a yajman, you get some money, you get more money, you do more pujas, you do quickly, you don't have concentration, doesn't matter. If you get less money, then you keep asking. There are blatant amount of corrupt practices that are done, and these corruptions are rampant. Any average Hindu who has gone to temples would have faced this. I mean, you need to be dishonest to deny that these things happen in temples. And I am not even talking the smaller temples, the largest of temples. I have seen people being, if you give 100 rupee, they'll ask for 500. If you give 500, they ask for 1,000. If you give 1,000, they ask for 5,000. Then there's another scam that goes on. It's a scam. That's basically what it is. It's a scam. They will suddenly tell you that aapke naam pe sankalp kar liya. I've taken a sankalp in your name without asking you, without asking your gotra, without your permission, and say that now you have to give 5,000 rupees. Otherwise, you're going to face problems. So basically, you are the priest who is supposed to take care of the deity is so shameless and so fearless. That's primarily because he actually doesn't think that the deity exists. He's just doing a job. He has to earn money, and not even a salaried job. This is basically a business. How do I earn more money? So one way or the other, by hook or crook, you somehow scam the devotee. You make him or her feel guilty, so that they give out more money, because otherwise you can put on some fake curses and some fake abuses, and put a fake guilt trip on the individual who visits the temple. And somehow or the other, the aim of these priests are just, how do I make more money? And this mercantile tendency, this guna, this tendency, the guna of being, how do I earn more money, basically, of transactional mentality, is most evident in the priests of most of the larger temples in certain states in India. Not all states. I have had good experiences of temples in Maharashtra, temples in South India, definitely, because there's more decorum that's followed, uh, especially temples in Kerala. But North is terrible. And specifically the temples that I mentioned, you will end up coming out of the space with such a bad mindset that whatever bhakti devotion you might have had while going to the temple all evaporates immediately. If there is ever a corruption that is existent in the Hindu space, what exactly is dharma? Is it about getting more rights? Then I am having more temples, schools, etc., more political freedom. All that is fine. The root of dharma is fundamentally one thing. There is the realm of the spirit and the gods, and there is the realm of the humans. And creating a bridge so that the impressions, energies, the subtle forces from those realms are well represented, so that they get a chance to play about and develop in our plane, and in the process uplift human beings who are attached to those forces. This is fundamentally what is dharma. In order to maintain this, why do we follow dharma? So that it helps us to grow, it helps us to transcend the normal human consciousness, It helps us to sustain. That is the whole point of Dharma. So the root of Dharma is in the upasana of the devatas. The moment you remove the deities from Dharma, so the moment you remove deities from Sanatana Dharma, then there is no Sanatana Dharma left. Whatever it is not Dharma. It could be some secular business, some this political movement, some narrative, some right wing, left wing, this wing, that wing, all that is rubbish. It has got nothing to do with dharma so long as the devatas are not present. And these specific set of deities who have been worshipped in this land since the ancient most times, the same devatas we see in the Vedic path also reappear in the Tantric path. Paddhatis are different. Same Shiva comes as Rudra Shiva, same Shiva becomes Bhairava. There is Shakti, there is even the Vaishnava forms, etc. So this understanding is very crucial, that the heart of dharma is in Devata Upasana. It is not, as many like to believe, in the maintenance of the varnashrama and other things. Those had some merit, but my views are very clear on that. It has become too muddied and too messed up in this age, and except for the ego of a large section of people who perhaps feel good about that they are from this varna and that, because ego is like the shadow of varnashrama that is tied to it. I've never seen uh, a person who is subtly proud of the varnashrama who doesn't also uh, allow it to increase and inflate his ego. Not one example. So finally, whatever benefits it's supposed to have caused at some point has all been washed away by the ultimate hodgepodge and the khichdi that has been created by the karmic forces, which is why we have the situation where people born into one varna, maybe even the Brahmin varna, display gunas which are worse than that of a Chandala. That is why you have the audacity to stand in front of a deity as powerful as as Kashi Vishwanath or Kal Bhairav or Vindhyachal, and then utter an absurd lie to a devotee that I've taken a sankalpa in your name that you have to cough out 5,000 rupees. That is daylight robbery. Only a thief of the highest order, not even a chandala, worse than that. Somebody who's outside of the varna, whose mind has been 100% corrupted, can say something like this, who has no faith on the deity whatsoever, no belief in an afterlife, no belief in the law of karma, doesn't care. His only attraction is by hook or crook, I have to get money. It is only that kind of a person, the most adharmic of all people, who can conduct a scam of this order right in front of the Devata. And this corruption is no less than the corruption of outsiders coming and destroying temples. You can protect your temples, you can get a good government, you can do whatever. But if you allow these corruptions to happen, and it happens rampantly across temples, anybody who has gone there would have had an experience. I mean, randomly you take a vote across India, more than 90% people will say that they have had bad experiences in these spaces. Terrible experience. Bad is an understatement, actually. It's like looting people openly. And without any restrictions, nobody can say a word. If you say anything, then they will gang up and start behaving in unruly fashions, etc. These things are the most severe corruptions in the heart of dharma. And once the priests, who are supposed to be the purest of people, who must have the greatest reverence for the deity, and reverence is not verbal, reverence is reflected. If it is there in the guna, if that guna of reverence is there in the upasaka, in the priest, you will understand it. He doesn't have to say anything by looking at his or her behavior, because actions never lie. Remember this, words can be anything, but actions never lie. By observing the actions, by observing what and how they behave, observing how much they're attached to, how much greed they display or the lack of it, you can figure out what kind of consciousness he or she he actually uh, exhibits and carries within himself, and whether it's fit to do seva of the devata. So if a corrupted individual like that is doing archana puja of the deity, even if the deity is very powerful, after a certain span of time, the deity will refuse to take and balance the karmas of that space. And once he decides, okay, he is going to get out of that space and remove his protection from that space, the next thing you have is a physical event, like whether there's an earthquake or some ghori or somebody comes from somewhere and destroys your temple. These things are going to happen. If the whole root karmic cause is because there is some internal corruption that goes unchecked and continues unrestricted, which is what allows, and that is why the deities then say that, okay, I don't care after a point. You do whatever you want. Because for the devatas, a temple is just one small abode. The true abode is in the higher planes. They have kindly allowed a bit of the energy to inhabit a particular space for the benefit of humanity, and because they like interacting with humanity in some spaces. But it's not that they can anytime withdraw the energy from that space and go somewhere else. It makes no difference to them. It is from this mindset alone you have today something like what this disturbing news that we are reading, that there's a 200 crore scam that has happened in the Ram temple. And this temple was touted as one of the biggest achievements of the Hindu Sanatani people. For 500 years, you have struggled and you have done this and that. And in 1 year, people have successfully caused a 200 crore scam. I mean, sit for a moment and think what type of corrupted mentality it has to be imbibed in a person, in a set of people, to do something like this. There is literally no fear of the deity. There's literally no fear of the law of karma. There's literally uh, the temple space is looked at as a commercial enterprise, like a shop. You're running a shop, and that too a very shady kind of business. One of those get rich quick schemes and all that. Nothing substantial. So how do I scam people and take money? How do I loot people? How do I do thievery? 200 crores. I mean, one has to be completely ashamed. And then I hear so many activists say that temples should be should be freed from the government control. Yeah, so that, this 200 crores can become 500 crores. I mean, I don't know. The government is no better than this. But uh, the priests managing is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So whoever says that temples have to come out of the government control should also first find a way how to bring these priests under control and make them stop looting people in the name of dharma. Stop making a business out of dharma. If you cannot do that, then all the other gyan that is given is completely useless. You are not able to rectify the heart of the problem, and this cannot be rectified until ordinary people start protesting against these kind of behaviors, these kind of open looting in temples, because this is absolute adharma of the same caliber and kind and degree of adharma as foreigners coming and destroying temples. Until somebody does something about this, until people collectively do something about this, we will not be freed from the curse of the deities. If you imagine for a moment, sitting in the Garbha of a temple, Pitha like Kamakhya, and you give him 10 rupees and he's asking for 500. If you give him 500, you ask for more. What degree of shamelessness must be there inside the DNA of those people? You need to have lifetimes of corrupted mindset to do something like that. And then you expect the deity is going to protect you when there is a government that coming to do a corridor. You have to be a fool of the highest order. These corruptions are the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest and the most dangerous and the most deadly things that affect dharma today, more than anything else. If you truly understand what dharma is, if you truly understand what devata is, if you truly understand what sadhana is, you will understand what is the law of karma. And the law of karma dictates that if you have treated if you are sitting in front of the deity and behaving like an ordinary thief and a thug and a scam artist, there is only so much that the deity will allow and accept. And then one day the deity is going to remove his or her protection from that place. And then you are done. Nobody can save you. Nobody. It's sad that this has to be told out clearly. I mean, I know a lot of ordinary people who understand this, but each of these spaces have their strong lobbies and strong, protectionism that works. And simply, there is no change in the basic culture. I don't even hear the great dharma gurus of India ever speaking strongly about this. I mean, unless you fix this corruption, every other puja part, whatever you are doing, is not going to help. It's not going to help this temple survive indefinitely. There are going to be karmic repercussions for this. And that is also why, I mean, this was not the primary reason, but this is at least one of the secondary and tertiary reasons why I'm so keen on developing the 8 Bhairava temples across India, for which uh, very active and strong work is going on. I mean, this year itself, we will have some very positive news on that front. But the main thing is that so that the acharam of Bhairava sadhana is correctly done, so that this whole money-mindedness has to be removed completely. There should be, in fact, if it were in my capacity, I would say that in the Garbhagriha of every single temple, ban money. Do not carry any money inside the Garbhagriha of any temple. There is the whole vibration of money and currency notes is absolutely gross. It has got nothing divine in it. It is the lowest form of Lakshmi. The highest form of Lakshmi is self-containment and enlightenment, and the lowest form of Lakshmi is in the currency note. Ideal course, no Garbhagriha should allow anybody to carry any purse. For example, in most temples you have the niyama, they should wear a certain dress. I mean, here also it's funny. I see Hindus going to temples wearing shorts and all that. If you don't have this basic understanding and courtesy, you feel like you just get up from bed and just go there, like you're going to a picnic or going to meet a friend. You are casual about dharma, the gods are also casual about you. There is a strange epidemic of lack of faith. There is no burning faith inside. It's more like a customary thing. Okay, I just go because people are going, so I just wear a shorts and go. Would you ever think of wearing a shorts and going to an office in a formal setting, meeting your boss? How would you think working? I mean, this is just basic common sense. If you cannot put in that much amount of effort, if you're that lazy, you expect everybody to bow down to your whims and fancies. There is something seriously wrong with the Hindu people. There is something seriously wrong that needs tremendous self introspection, because otherwise, in time, there is going to be karmic repercussion for all of this. There is nobody who can escape from there. So yeah, it's a terrible news. This 200 crore scam in a temple like the Rama temple. After 500 years of struggle, this is what you get. So you need to ask yourself, what are the people who are the custodians of dharma? Who are these people? How did this happen? What is the corruption that has happened? Self introspection. It's easy to blame everybody. It's easy to blame all the invaders. Yeah, they have done wrong, but if you are a spiritual man, you would think that what wrong did I do to deserve this? And unless you correct it, nature is very ruthless. Nature doesn't care about sympathy, quota crying, and all that. So nature says that either you correct your mistake or you keep facing the consequences of it. There's no point crying about it. Somebody should be able to rectify these things eventually. Otherwise, we are headed into terrible conditions. And these days, specifically due to the internet, due to the popularity of these temples, more and more people come, and these scams keep increasing and increasing. There's endless amount of fleecing people from unnecessarily and in the most shamelessly corrupt manner, forcing people to give out more and more money inside the garbhagriha of the temple. There's nothing more terrible than that. It's like even inside a basic kirana dukan, there is little bit more amount of financial decorum that happens than inside the garbhagriha of temples. This is the most shameful condition that one can think of. So yeah, as ordinary people, only thing you can do is keep doing your sadhana, be aware, and never ever fall into the trap of priests guilt tripping you into giving money. Never ever. The deities are very powerful. You don't have to enter the Garbhagriha. I personally these days don't enter the Garbhagriha of Kal Bhairava. I sit outside, do my japa and come. He's present in the whole area, not just in the temple. From that Kal Bhairava, from the temple to Manikarnika, it is his domain. Whole of Kashi is his domain. He can appear inside your hotel room also. He can appear inside your house also if he wants. You don't need to go actually pay a lot of money and then end up with a very bad mindset standing in front of the deity. What is the point in that kind of a visit? There is another aspect to it. I have seen this in Kamakhya. I've been going to Kamakhya for a long time. Initial days, things were not like this. The priests demand money, and then there are a lot of people who like paying more. So if there is a 5 rupee service, they'll pay 10. And when you pay more, obviously the priests are going to treat you like some royalty, and they're going to give you special privileges. And then you will feel that, oh, I had a wonderful darshan, kya baat hai, Ma Kamakhya likes me very much. All that is just delusion and foolishness. It's a two-way process. See, money is one thing which, if you do not maintain a decorum with money, financial discipline with money, pay what is needed. Do not pay more. Do not be fooled into believing that this is a house of the gods, so the more you pay, more punya you're going to come. Nothing of that sort. You're just paying to a greedy priest. In fact, it is adding to your spiritual demerit. Paying a greedy priest is better than that. You just take the money and feed poor people that you might, in the name of the deity you like, do mantra japa and feed poor people, and you will get more benefits out of that rather than paying a greedy priest and then feel, and them facilitating something for you, and you feel that, oh my god, that's such a divine experience. All that is not true at all. Self delusion. Be very clear on this. This video I had to make because until you understand, until somebody speaks of these things, I don't understand why nobody ever makes comments on these factors. I've spoken about it in previous podcasts in Hindi as well. But this, as I see it, is the biggest underlying corruption that exists in Dharma. And so big is this corruption that eventually, if you continue in this manner, I mean, I don't know how long before calamities are going to strike these temples. Such kind of absurd, mindless, shameless looting right in front of the deity. It requires a different level of, disbelief. Until you experience it, you don't know it. And then when you read a news like this Ram temple, you realize that, okay, this is the same set of people who are also managing, same mindset of people, same set of gunas. See, that is where it is. The gunas are very important. Just because somebody is born into a Brahmin caste, therefore it becomes automatically pure, is all nonsense. Practically, it doesn't happen. We see it every day. And that is why we already see that in reality, there's a large number of Hindus who have stopped following rigorously the caste system because it is not showing results. As simple as that. You cannot make somebody believe in something that is practically not working out. If it was true that the Brahmins, or at least even the priests, had that kind of spiritual aura, especially of the correct temples, and not come across as greedy uh, scammers and beggars standing in front of temples, you would have still thought that, okay, they have the right guna of a Brahmin. But here, the guna that is coming out, and the guna comes out by activities, by the words are useless. And in some cases, words also. In Puri Jagannath, they used to curse the devotees' family if they didn't pay them enough. I have seen it myself. I've gone there many times at one point. In front of Lord Jagannath, I mean, just no shame. Just no shame. Just don't care. If that kind of activity is done, the guna that is reflected in the individual is not even of the four varnas. It is something completely outside. Perhaps, those lower entities like Pishachas and all that, once in a while they get the chance to get born in human form and they get absolutely greedy and they don't care about anything. This is the kind of mentality that you will manifest. I know these are very strong words, but until Hindu society as a whole takes cognizance of these problems and rectifies it, and no leader can rectify this because I don't think the leaders actually care. They are set in their narratives. So long as they get their votes and they get their popularity contests, they are very happy with that. I've never seen anybody actually doing anything about the menace of these greedy priests in large temples. Not all, but yeah, large number of very powerful temples. Because perhaps they have a lobby. I don't know what they have. Eventually, we are heading towards bigger disasters than 200 crore scams in Ram Temple. Anyway, keep doing your sadhana. Jai Bhairava Baba, Jai Matara, Jai Kamakhya.